So welcome back to my channel. My name's Mary Claire and I'm so excited to see you again. I hope y'all have been having a really good week. My week has been pretty good. I had a lot of assignments this week and it was kind of like midterm week, so it was super crazy. But once again, we have made it. So congratulations to all of you friends for making it another week of life. Good job. Today, I'm so excited to be making this video. We're going to be talking all about how I study in nursing school, specifically using my iPad and my laptop. Honestly, I have never really been good at studying. I think it's just because I'm not always super good at focusing. I get distracted. I don't really learn very well by just reading material, if that makes sense. I have to read through it 10 times before I even know what I just read. So I guess I've just never really had a strategy that worked for me. It really adds to how overwhelming studying can be whenever you don't know exactly what works for you. So if you do have a strategy that you know works really, really good, don't try and change it unless you really want to. But if you are like I was at the beginning of this year, you may not exactly know what you're doing, and hopefully what I have figured out works for me will help you. So the first thing that I want us to talk about is the equipment that I use to study. I love how I figured out to study because to me it makes sense. It's very simple. I don't use a ton of materials, but it is really effective, and I have been feeling like I really am learning the material that I'm supposed to know for my tests and my quizzes and my checkoffs and all that stuff. The things that I use are, number one, my computer, my laptop. Personally, I have a MacBook Air. The second thing that I use is an iPad, and I talked about this in my first video as one of the things that you don't need for nursing school, but for me, this is what has revolutionized my studying and really helped me to figure out what works for me as far as simplifying all of the workload and making it a little bit less overwhelming. I have the 7th generation iPad right here. The Pro is really, really cool, but I have just the 7th generation iPad. It's the 10.2 inch, I think. And then I also use an Apple Pencil. I'm not really sure exactly what generation Apple Pencil this is, but it is whichever one is compatible with my iPad. So if you're gonna get an iPad and you're gonna get an Apple Pencil, just look in the descriptions of the Apple Pencils and the iPads to see which one you're gonna be able to use. Now, let's talk about which apps that I use. I am a person who thinks the simpler, the better. So I'm only gonna be showing you guys 3 apps today, and they're specifically what I use every single day. The first one is the Canvas app, and the Canvas app is really an app that is specific to my program. There are other ones out there. I know right off the bat there's one called Blackboard, but regardless of what program you're in and what platform they use, I would highly recommend downloading the app for that platform and going ahead and logging in. That way you will have access to everything that you need for that class. The second app that I use is GoodNotes. There are a number of other note-taking apps out there, but personally, I love GoodNotes. It's very aesthetic, it's very organized. With that being said, I use GoodNotes for basically everything. So whenever we get more into how to study for class and for your exams, I'll more specifically explain, but just know that with GoodNotes, the possibilities are endless as far as how cute and organized and neat you want to make your notes. And that is something that I really enjoy doing. The third app and the final app that I use most often is Quizlet. And Quizlet is a super good app for making flashcard sets. You can use it also on your laptop if you don't have an iPad. It's so good because you can make flashcard sets with your own questions or terminology, but you can also look up other people's flashcard sets that they have made, and that's especially helpful in nursing school when you're looking for those NCLEX style practice questions. A lot of people have entered NCLEX style questions into a Quizlet, and so you can just type in whichever chapter you're looking for to review, and you can find a Quizlet set that will help you study for your upcoming exam, and it'll be questions similar to the questions you can expect on your exam. Before I get started into the screen recording to show you specifically how I study for class and exams, I just want to talk about something that has really made a difference in my studying, and that is organization. I have realized this year how important it is to keep everything organized and simplified. There's enough going on in the world. You already have so many assignments and things to keep up with when you're in nursing school, so the least that you can do for yourself and your peace of mind is to just try and keep it organized so that you can take everything day by day and not freak out. With that being said, one of my biggest tips when you're studying for nursing school is try to keep things consolidated. And that is one thing that I think is really helpful about the iPad is you can keep things consolidated. On the GoodNotes app, you can have one notebook for your class and add in every single thing that you need for that class into that notebook on GoodNotes. You can put in class documents, you can put in rubrics, you can enter in charts that you make or diagrams along with your class notes, your video notes of skill videos. You can enter every single thing that you have for that class into that notebook, so when you need to access it, you go into GoodNotes, you know exactly where to find it, and it is so simple. So I highly recommend consolidating everything. You can also consolidate by using GoodNotes for things like your planner. I have a PDF planner that I actually created, but there are tons that you can purchase on Etsy, or you can even make your own using the GoodNotes app. But I actually keep my planner and make weekly to-do lists on GoodNotes so that I can keep all of that right there in the same place as my notebooks, in the same place as my assignments. It's very accessible and organized. You can also organize your documents and your notebooks into folders, which is really helpful, once again, for making things easy to access. So now let's go ahead and start talking about how to study successfully in nursing school. The first thing that is super important to do that I have found is to prepare for class, obviously. It is very important to prepare for class. The first thing that I do to get ready for class is read or skim the textbook and just highlight anything that really stands out. You don't have to go super overboard. Just kind of start to acclimate yourself with the topics and the concepts that you're going to be talking about in class, and go ahead and just get that in your brain. Get those wheels turning. The amount that you need to read will really depend on your learning style and the way that your class is set up. But for me personally, I just skim over the textbook. In one of my classes, it's really important to read all the textbook, and then the other one, you should look at it, you should be familiar, but you don't have to know every single detail. So, like I say, that depends on your class, it depends on your teacher, and it depends on your learning style. The second step that you need to do to get ready for class is to either copy the PowerPoints by hand that your instructor has given to you word for word, or you can save those PowerPoints as a PDF in handout form, send those to yourself, and upload them to GoodNotes. So I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like for both strategies. So that first strategy that I was talking about looks exactly like this. This copy of my notes is actually from several weeks ago, as you can see, week 2. And what I did was I actually went in and copied the exact PowerPoint by hand in purple and in pink. I found if you wait until class to take notes, there's no way that you're going to be able to copy down all the information that you need, as well as soak in all the information that's being taught to you and write down those things as well. So that's what we do here, is just before class, go in, write down every single word from your PowerPoint that your instructor gives you, or summarize it as best as you can. And then when you go to class, go ahead and pull that up on your iPad and then just write down every single thing that the professor says on your document of notes. For this, that is these little things in green here that I wrote. And one thing that I love about GoodNotes is the different formats of paper. This piece of paper actually is separated into 2 sides. So you have this larger side over here, and then you have this smaller column on the left side that you can write any additional information in. There's also squared paper, dotted paper. There's several different versions of this paper where you have several different columns. There's even the Cornell note-taking method paper. So there's lots and lots of options that you can use to customize GoodNotes note-taking experience to you and how you learn once again. The second way that you can prepare for class is to go ahead and open that PowerPoint that your instructor has sent to you and then save that as a PDF. I'm going to show you on my Mac what that looks like, but it may look a little different on your personal computer. So here I have a PowerPoint from my anatomy and physiology class, and I'm just going to show you how to upload this as a PDF so that you can send it to yourself and then open it in your GoodNotes app. Go up here to the top and you click the File and then Print, and then it brings this screen up. And right here where it says Slides, instead of having that say Slides, you are going to click Handouts for 2 slides per page, and it will actually come up as this. If you prefer, you can also do Handouts 3 slides per page, and it actually gives you these little lines that you can use to take your notes on. Preferably, I like the 2 slides per page just in case the writing is really small. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go down here to PDF, and you can actually click Send in Mail. And I'm not going to do that right now because I have already done this step, but once you click that Send in Mail, it's going to go ahead and open your email, and you can email it to yourself and then open it again on your iPad. Okay. So I have emailed that to myself, and now I'm just going to go to my iPad, and I have gone to my email. I'm just going to download that PDF and then open it, and I'm going to click up here at the top of the screen, the little square with the arrow, and once you click that, click Open in GoodNotes. And when you click Open in GoodNotes, it's going to bring up your most recent notebook, and then you can just click Import to Current Document, and what you're going to get is this. So then, as your instructor is speaking, you can highlight things using this little highlighter. You can draw on this, you can circle things, you can write little notes, all sorts of things you can do in this app. I have actually found that I prefer the second method for the classes that have the most reading, just because it does take up a lot of time to read all the things that you need to read and write down everything word for word before class. If the class doesn't have a ton of reading and there's not long PowerPoints, I will do that first method just because I like that it's pretty and really organized and aesthetic. Of course, in class, like we just talked about, you're going to want to take down any notes that your professor says. Make sure you star or highlight anything in the PowerPoint that your instructor emphasizes, and that's just going to help you in the future to know what to study and what to focus on. Then let's move on to what to do after class. So what I will do is just consolidate all of the information from class and from my textbook into a big, huge study guide. So I'll actually start in my textbook with the key points section, and I will copy down all of those key points. And I do this in my laptop. Once I have copied down all of the key points, I will then go in and open up my iPad, and I will look at my PowerPoint and my lecture notes, and then I will add in every single piece of information to my study guide in an organized way under the key point that it fits with. When I do this, I will change the wording, make it make sense to me, and I will even write it as if I was saying what I'm writing. So it's really casual language. If there's something that I feel like I need to explain further, I will explain it further, and that just helps me to organize what I need to know. And instead of just reading the information or looking at it, I'm actually doing something tangible with it, organizing it, and making it make sense in my mind. The third step, after you have copied down all the information from your PowerPoints and your lecture notes, is just to go back through one more time and clarify anything that you don't know using your textbook. I will normally look up any definitions that I don't know or any concepts that I'm a little unsure about, and I will go ahead and elaborate on that more. Once I do that, it's just time to study that big study guide that you have made. What studying looks like for me is just looking back through that document, making sure I understand all the concepts, and especially talking through the document. If you're by yourself, you may feel a little dumb talking to yourself, but I promise it will help. If you have the opportunity to get together with friends and just talk through it and teach each other, that is really what helps me the most, is just teaching it, talking it out, and hearing myself talk it out. I try to make that big study guide several days before the test, and then when it gets to be about 1 or 2 days before the test, I slow down a little bit on how deep I'm looking at it, apart from just reviewing the things that I don't understand or just kind of making sure that I stay familiar with the material. And I'll actually move to doing practice questions that have to do with my test topics. The way that I do that is I will look at Quizlet. What you can do is just go ahead and search for the topic that's on your test, and a lot of options for practice tests are going to come up. For example, I am going to go ahead and type in nutrition, NCLEX style, or NCLEX study questions. It comes up several different options. I'm just going to click on the first one and let's just see what it looks like. So this looks like it has a lot of terms, which are really good, but I really want some study questions. So here are some really good study questions, as you can see. So then you can just click study this set, and you can do the flashcards, and that actually tells you the answer first, so you can make it tell you the term first. And so then you can just click it, and you can actually just go through these practice questions and make sure that you're familiar with the answers and why those are the answers. And I have found that that really helps me to prepare for my test. You can also, of course, use resources like the Saunders NCLEX Review Guide or the ATI books, but Quizlet is really a great go-to for studying in nursing school. The biggest takeaways that I have been able to learn this semester is just the importance of simplifying everything that you have to do and study. It makes it a lot less overwhelming if you can consolidate things, and it makes the material a lot more manageable. So good luck to you guys in all things that you're doing, but especially all things school related, and I just wish you happy studying and a great rest of the semester. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you again.